The city of Philadelphia had some unfortunate news for one of its local universities over the summer, where the University of the Arts unexpectedly closed with only 7 days' notice back in the middle of June, right after graduation, and they just shut down. They gave faculty, staff, students just 7 days' notice that the university is closing. It left a lot of people in the lurch, and now there's some questions about what's going to happen with the buildings and what's going to happen with the school, which we'll break down next, and what it means for the local real estate market in the Philadelphia area and the local neighborhoods. So if you get some value out of this or you like what you hear, make sure to subscribe to the channel. You can hit the bell for notifications. And if you want to schedule a call with our team about how this might impact your real estate decisions, you can do that with the link in the comments. So June 14th was the date. Next steps for students and staff members at the University of the Arts were put into turmoil because the university announced it'd be closing. It was unexpected. Nobody really had any news about this. And the statement was released May 31st, but there was a leak that there was a fragile financial state. And there was only about 1,000 students that go to the University of the Arts, and with declining enrollment, declining in revenues, and increasing expenses, those were cited as the reasons for the unexpected closure. And there was people that needed to complete like 3 credits to get an internship, or people whose jobs are dependent on the University of the Arts, and they were just shut out. That was the end. It was over with only a week's notice. Some staff and students thought this was a joke, like an April Fool's prank, that the university was closing. It was very heartbreaking, was a lot of the reaction. So obviously very sad news, since the University of the Arts has been on Broad Street for a very long time. The accreditation was withdrawn June 1st, 3 days after the school notified its accrediting body that it would close, the Middle States Commission on Higher Education, in the news release on May 31st. And the city council voted June 6th to hold hearings to examine the closure. The Pennsylvania Attorney General came out and confirmed that they were investigating this. And the short of it is that the university closed. That was it. And the news came out this past week, after 3 months of the abrupt closure, that the university was filing Chapter 7 bankruptcy, intending to sell off its real estate holdings, which has a lot of big questions for real estate development. And the school has almost $50 million in debt to bondholders, and a court filing shows that the shuttered university's assets are valued between $50 million to $100 million. So obviously there's some financial stress there. And what happened was Temple University raised the possibility of a merger to preserve the school, to preserve the properties, but talks broke down after an extensive effort by internal and external teams at Temple. They were unable to identify a solution that would be in the best interest of Temple's community and mission, from the August 29th letter that Temple administrators put out, specifically University President Richard Engler. So there's 330 formal and prospective University Arts students that enrolled in Temple, and they paid the same cost that they would have at the former university. So that's a great move by Temple there. I like to see that supporting the local community and the higher education here. And they're going to continue to explore opportunities with other nonprofits that might allow them to revitalize and activate the facilities. But there's going to be a big question about this real estate. That is prime real estate on Broad Street. They had to lay off 600 staff members. A very sad story here. And the former students, the staff, and the faculty are all struggling right now with the damage done to their careers and educations. And the University of Arts Board are being accused of neglecting their legal, contractual, and moral obligations. So there's a lot to unpack here. I love what Temple's doing, trying to make this work and make it viable. I think that's a really smart thing for the city. What I'm concerned about is if they're not able to, what happens to these buildings? The University of the Arts is located right on Broad Street. And we know, being in real estate, that developers will be eyeing that up. There will be people circling, trying to purchase those buildings, just like what would happen with any building like that of significance. And, what I'm concerned about is that, it's not going to be bondholders or real estate developers that are the priority here, even though they have a legal right to do that, the bondholders especially. But the community that gets upended with the University of the Arts. And it's a very sad thing for the city of Philadelphia. I'm hoping they're able to work something out with one of these nonprofits or come up with some sort of solution here. because that will be best for the city. So the University of the Arts has been part of the city for a very long time. The former CFO, he's looking for answers. I mean, he's saying that something doesn't add up here. There was an article on the PhiladelphiaCitizen.org where the 150-year-old university, because it was such an abrupt closure, he's saying something doesn't add up. So what the statements are here is that most universities routinely prepare financials, budgets, forecasts, monthly financial statements, cash flow analyses, and other key management reports that provide up-to-date financial information, including early warning signs of any potential problems. I mean, let's face it, universities are big business, right? So this is a normal thing. And the level of financial discipline is critical to institutions like the University of Arts that are fiscally challenged. And they should have never been in the position of having to say, like you, we are struggling to make sense of the present moment. So it looks like a lot of neglect had happened here. And the fact that no one can talk about the $40 million funding gap, it raises a lot of questions. And so that's what people are trying to find out about now. Obviously, Temple did a nice, commendable job stepping forward, but it doesn't look like it's going anywhere. And, you know, they're not disclosing the unspecified urgent financial crisis and the underlying facts and circumstances. So this is something you're going to want to watch out for here to see as more news unfolds. It was very shocking news, not great for the, for the school, obviously, for the community, for people that were attending there or relied on employment there. And even in the late 80s, there was discussions among CFOs at University of Arts, Moore College of Art and Design, and the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts to explore consortium opportunities. But that all stalled out because the financial conditions weren't that problematic. That was 40 years ago now. So obviously they are. I hope that it doesn't get developed down there. I know a lot of developers are looking at the land, trying to do something there. They want that piece of property. I don't blame them. Wouldn't be good for the city, and it wouldn't be good for the higher education community.